Okay. I'm still getting used to how to do this. Okay. So thank you for tuning in if you're watching. Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm going to demonstrate how I would do a digital portrait using the Procreate app on my iPad. And so this would be something you might do, well, a little background. I used to do um, charcoal sketch portraits at hotels like Disney area and Universal Studios area here in Florida. Trying to get everything straight here. Anyway, so this portrait that you're looking at right now is not the one we're doing today. I just wanted to start with something so you could see it. So, all right. So this, I'm trying to make everything straight here. Everything is delayed on the picture. All right. So the way the camera is set up right now, I'm going to have to. Hopefully, you'll be able to see everything I do. But there's a yeah. So the bottom is not going to be quite there. Looks like it's going to be a little cut off. Right, a little bit. But I want you to be able to see the top because those are the tools that we're going to be using. All right, so let's get started. This is not the picture. This is a different picture I did. What I will do, the same as this picture though, is I will use the dry brush. I like the way the dry brush looks to make a painting painterly. You might choose to use oil or let me go through all those things or something different. Okay, so let's go first to the gallery. I already have so here's some of the work I've done in the past. Some of these things are children's book illustrations. Others are just landscapes or different things that I've painted. I've already chosen a canvas, and it's just a white piece of it's a white screen, white piece of paper. I've made sure that it was a large size in case I want to do something with it later on and print it. And so I made it 27 by 21. You can make it 8 by 11 as long as if you have it 300 DPI, it'll probably enlarge to something bigger without any pixelation. But anyway, so this is going to be our canvas, and I'm going to get a reference photo, and I will explain how I do this. And the reference photo is under canvas. Turn on the reference photo, and go to image, and then go to your photos that you have in your device. So we're going to use this pretty girl here. Here she is. Okay, so we're going to use her as our model. When I would sketch in the theme parks or in a hotel or something, I would always use charcoal. So let me show you how I might do that. First of all, I would always set it up so that I can see the person, and then I would always hold my paper up in front of me so that I could see the person and kind of line it up. If I was holding like the tooth, I wouldn't be holding her picture. She'd be sitting there, okay, and I'd be holding the pad, and I would be drawing on the pad, and I would make sure from my perspective that I could see the pad, and then to the left I could see. It's always to my left anyway. I could see the girl or the guy or the child or the dog. Dogs are hard because they move so much. I needed a little bit of stillness, but you could still do it. You can get the pieces. And likeness is so important. I will tell you this, that I used to do them in 15 minutes. Now, in 15 minutes, there's a good likelihood you won't capture a likeness, especially with just charcoal. So I'm going to start with that. But the thing is this, I'm going to give myself a 90. Like 90% of the time, I did get a likeness. All right, so rather than starting with the brushes, the turpentine, and the dry brush, I am going to go to the sketching part here. I think that's where we go here. No, I guess not. I guess you go to the drawing part. No, where's charcoal? Is charcoal? Oh, okay, I have to figure out where they put charcoal on here. Oh, here it is. It's called charcoals. Okay, so I'm going to get a charcoal. Okay, I'm going to use the carbon stick. You could use the vine charcoal, the compressed, the 4B compressed. They're all, you use what you like. Um, I think I'll use the charcoal stick, and we'll go to the color. And of course, we want it to be black charcoal. And what we want to do is we want to capture just enough information so that we can use it later on. And so what I would do is I would always start like with an eye. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, that's the size of the brush. Okay, so we want to make an eye. Hey, come on, why isn't that working? Oh, it's working. It's working. It's just not very dark for some reason. Oh, the opacity's down. All right, so I'm going to start with an eye. There's her eye. Okay, and then kind of eyeball it, eyeball it, and then get the other eye right there. Just kind of add in, just sketch in. Now, see, I've already made a mistake. I can already tell I've made a mistake. So, in the real world, I probably wouldn't have made that mistake. But it's so small here. In the real world, it would have been, this size. But, all right, let's undo that stuff. Let's get rid of that stuff. All right, get away. 2 fingers, by the way, is how you erase things on this. Just keep tapping it, and it'll go away. There it goes. Okay. All right, so let's make this. Let's do this. Let's take her face and first get the kind of the shape of the face. That way, I'll kind of be in line with the paper here. All I want to do is get this girl's face. We're just doing a face. So, there we go. All right, now we're making progress. We see the shape of her face. Her chin goes down there. Okay. Goes up there. Okay. And her hair is outside of the picture. I'm going to use a digital trick and move it down just a little bit so the hair's in the picture. Okay, so I moved it down a little bit. Okay, so now we've got her forehead there. Kind of, she goes straight down here. And then it curves. And then her chin. And up, and there we go, that. Okay, so now I think it's going to be easier for me to place her eyes. So her eyes are about here. Okay. And her eyebrows about there. And then, let's see, over here we'll sketch in that eyebrow. Now, I'm not, when I said I do them 15 minutes at the theme parks, I don't intend to take only 15 minutes here. I do intend to spend more time on it. All right, now her nose, let's see, this is the gap between her eyes and her nose. It's kind of like that. Just kind of sketch it in very lightly. And then go down to where you think her nose is right there. You can always, if you keep it light, you can change it. Even in real charcoal, you can. But just kind of say, well, there's her eye. She's got a little bit of a circle under her eye. She's a pretty girl, but she does have a little bit of smile. She got smile lines, okay? And the eye goes closer to the edge of her thing. The eyes are not quite big enough, I think. Let's make sure we get that right. The eyes are so important in a likeness. Okay. Yeah, let's not shortchange her because she's cute. We want to keep her cute. And then we got this little area here. We're gonna try to figure out where the cheeks are here. Okay. And there we go. And then her mouth, she's got a cute smile. Her chin, the bottom of her chin, it's right there. Okay. The hair creating a shadow there. And her mouth. Oh, unlike cartoons where the smile always goes up, you see how the upper lip is actually an upside down looking curve. So draw what you see, not what you know, because you know from cartoons that smiles are this way, right? But you don't want that. Her smile is a tiny bit like that, and then like that on the bottom. So let's try and do that. I made it way too thick. I'll fix that. I'm trying to get the placement more than, and I'm struggling a little bit with this. Let me change the charcoal. Let me get the charcoal black. Maybe that's a little bit more defined. Let me erase what I did there with her eyes. With her mouth. Okay, we'll go back to it with the black charcoal now. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, make the charcoal point a little smaller. Again, in the real world, you can do that. You can get a small point on your charcoal. So you see the corner of her mouth goes almost directly under the middle of her eye. So we'll do the same thing. And you want to know something. That's true for nearly everybody. Nearly everybody, the corner of their mouth is under the middle of their eye. So you can kind of remember that. Okay. So make sure I got everything. And the beauty of digital is you can change the mistakes. And so I'm from this point on, I'm going to work digital as digital. I was trying to show you how I did it with traditional charcoal. And I guess you got the point. So from this point on, I'm going to use digital. What I mean by that is I can change it as I go along. Okay? So right now you already see her face. I think that black charcoal was a good decision. It's a much more precise, more defined line. Okay, yeah, it's working. So I don't really have her likeness yet. It's sort of, it's a pretty girl. And that's another thing. If you're not trying to get a likeness, if you're just trying to get a face, then you can use a model and change certain things. I might, in fact, change some things about this girl when we get to the point where we can do some details. Okay, so let's just finish sketching her. She's got her hair comes way down to outside the picture. She you can't see very many clothes on her, but I'm pretty sure she's dressed. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? All right, now let's get this hair. It goes out to about there. Let's see the face. The eyes come across here, and we're gonna look at this bigger. Don't worry. We're gonna make sure we get this right, because if you're trying to sketch somebody and capture a likeness, that's what I want to show you. Oh, I see a shoulder there peeking out. It's hard to see. It's almost the same color as the background. It's right there. So we'll put it in there. Just give ourselves some guidelines. And now, preferably, you would have either a live model or a much larger photograph to work with. Because this is an iPad, it's small. It's very small. So I'm sketching a thumbnail, more or less. Okay, now I kind of don't like how low I put it in the picture, so I'm going to use a digital trick and move it up. Digital tool, I should say. Okay, so there's that. Move her nose right there. Okay. Looks like the shadow of her neck and hair right underneath the corner of her mouth. Same over there, but this one comes at an angle. Okay, and this one, it's right there. And it goes from dark, and she looks like she's got a black top on underneath all that hair. That's what it looks like. Okay. Now, so far I've been painting or drawing on a white surface. I'm going to change that in a second. I want to so I can see some of the lights, because you can't see lights if you are working on a white paper. All right, I'm going to change the eraser. I want to use the same eraser as the charcoal I'm using. So I'm going to use a charcoal black eraser. That way it's defined more. It's similar to, like when I work with a dry brush for painting, I will use the dry brush eraser. Okay, there's that. It's not quite right because her hair, it almost goes like on a corner. It almost has a right angleness to it. Don't worry, we're going to take care of all the little details in a little bit. Okay, let me erase some of that. Okay, it doesn't quite look like her yet, but that's the goal. The goal is to get it to look like her. All right, now, I told you I was going to change the background, so I'm going to change the background. I think I'm going to make it gray. Yeah, kind of a green gray. That looks nice. That looks nice. Okay, so now let's make it a lot bigger so we can see what we're doing here. We just wanted to get the basic shape. I'm going to try to make the reference photo kind of the same size. Now you can see that's a girl, but that's not that girl. I do not have the likeness. See it? Can you see that it's not the likeness? Well, that's what we want. We want the likeness. In sketching traditionally with a real charcoal, real paper, you have to be very super focused. You have to be very, very careful to make sure everything is in the right place, because the closer you get to the way it looks, the more the likeness will look like the person, and the happier the customer will be. In my case, yeah, they were customers. They were paying for these things. All right. So let's... And the other thing is, you can use an eraser on digital. You really can't use an eraser on actual, not with pastel. Well, with pastel either, not with charcoal. That's what I meant to say. All right, so let's see what we got wrong here. Let's look at her, the distance between her, the bright part of her nose. And then we got this here, and then the corner of her eyes there. And of course she's got the eyelid. And we're still sketching it in. And since I can use an eraser, I'm going to. Okay. Let's see, her eyebrow is not quite like that. Right now I'm using the eraser. Okay. I think her nose is a little too low. So again, you couldn't do this with real, but you can do it with digital. And you know, right now in the theme parks, if you want to work as a digital sketch artist, you can use an iPad. Yeah, they do it this way, and then you just send the customer the JPEG or the PDF. What is it? PDF. PNG. The PNG. Okay. All right. So now you see that upper lip is way too big. So let's bring it down a little bit. And let's give her more. That fulcrum of the nose is not quite right. In fact, those nostrils are almost invisible. They're almost hidden completely. So we're going to change that a little. Change some of this a little bit. Okay, now, there's two things you can do. I want to show you something regarding the coloring of the portrait, okay? I want to show you some things. If you were doing an actual sitting, if you're sitting across from a model, go to your palette, try to get a color that looks like the color of her skin tone, the best you can. Hers is a little bit red. Go for the red. See, this is what we're looking at up here. maybe a little bit more on the orange side. Okay, so I'm going to go with that color. But I'm going to show you a trick. So here's now we're going to use I said in the beginning we were going to use a dry brush, right? Okay, let's do that. Let's use the dry brush, just because we want it to look painterly. So go to the painting, go to the dry brush. You could use the oil or the turpentine or whatever. Now there's the color I picked, and I've got the dry brush. Now I'm going to use a separate layer so I don't mess up that layer. Okay, I'm going to paint on top of her. So let's just scrub some color into her using that dry brush there. Let me make it a little bigger. Okay, can you see that? All right, so there's some color. So let's just, every place on her face, which is kind of light toned, like where the light's coming in from the side, let's just try to find those places. And put the light tone on. Every place is a light tone. Looks like I made her chin a little too big, by the way. So I see that there. Got some light tone there. Okay. I did say I was going to show you a trick, so here we go. Let's show you a trick now. Now, what I wanted to show you is how you pick the color if you're sitting with the subject and you don't have a photo of the subject. However, you know, with your iPad, you can take a photo of the subject. Let me look down here. All right, so her shoulder's a little bit on the white side. And the shoulder's very much on the white side over here. All right. She looks kind of red to me in the photograph. So here's what we want to do. And by the way, don't ever be afraid to use a color that you don't see. Perfect example is blue. You know, there's a lot of blue in complexion, whether it's a Caucasian or an African American or any race, really. There's always a little bit of blue. You see, you don't see blue right there, do you? But watch this. If I take the color I've been using and go toward the blue right there, okay? And now we're gonna, I guess that's good enough. Now we're gonna mess with that. Let me go closer and show you. Just gonna add a little blue to that. And purple works sometimes too, okay? Now, in real paint, this is the smudge tool. I'm gonna use the same brush, the dry brush, and you smudge it together. You blend it together. And you get this shadowy effect. You'll have to trust me on this because I don't want to work on it too much like that. Mostly, I really think you probably are interested in knowing how to do a portrait digitally, right? So again, the number one thing is the likeness, and there are so many things about this that do not get the likeness yet. We're not there yet. But what I want to do, let's go to her eye. Let's just take that one eye, that pretty eye. Look at that pretty eye. And we're going to take the eraser. Let's go back to the charcoal eraser. We still got it, okay. Now let's erase, go back to the layer with the charcoal. And let's see. So there's her nose there. And there's the space. And there's the darkness. We're, oops. Let me get back to the color, to the dark. Okay. So there's the, yeah, kind of the darker there. And there's the tip of her nose, the indentation of her nose. There's that white area. There's the darkness. So let's kind of measure this out. You got that. Got that. You got this area here. There's a little bit of darkness to it. It goes up, and then the eyebrow comes down here. there. Okay, there we go. And let me see. Now this, let's make the charcoal very small. Let's make sure we got her eyes right. She's got, looks like she's got some makeup on, so she's got some, let me do a layer on top of it because that color is underneath it. Okay. Over there? No, I didn't put it underneath it. I mean above it, and put it above it. There we go. Alright, so we take this, let's look at her eye shape now. That looks like it. Let's get that eraser. Let's get that. So her eye goes like this. So let's erase. You know what, that color is getting in my way here. Let's get rid of that color. Yeah, let's just get rid of that color for now. There. Okay. And there. And that comes up there. Okay, let's get back to the charcoal now. And you see her eyelashes do come up. Now, we can't see her eye very well defined in this. It's a kind of a blurry photograph, but we're going to fix that. We're going to make it a sharper image because you can see enough of her eye to see what we should be doing. So might as well do it now while we're here. Okay. So let's make sure we have her eye as close to the way it looks as possible. Looks like that's a straight line going down. And there, and her eyeball is right there. Right there. Let's make some light in there so we can see the whites of her eyes a little bit. There we are. Now let's go for the dark again. This is where her eyelid shows. Okay. Okay, so let's pull it back and see how we did. Not bad. Not bad. Not perfect, but it's getting there. And there we go. There you go. Almost looks like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz right now. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to measure there, and then we have this here, this area. Then we have this. I still haven't shown you the trick I wanted to show you. And this goes here. And her nose goes down here. Up here. Okay, let's work on the other eye now. So between the two eyes, you have this area here, and it's a little bit too tight there, I think. I don't think I have it quite right yet. I think her face is a little thinner than I made it. And the chin is a little bit higher here. Okay. get the eraser here. Bring this over a little bit. So there, to there, to there. And then you come in here. Right about there is where her eye kind of starts. Okay. And her eyelid. And that's, it looks like a way too big eye. That's because it's the sketch there, the rough sketch earlier. Okay, let's get her eyelid in there. A little bit of light that catches on the eyelid. Eyebrow goes all the way to the edge. Let's erase some of that eyebrow. It's a little bit too much. And let's see. I think if I made her nose too big, I think I did. So beauty of digital. Beauty of digital. Let's see. Corner of the eye, corner of the nose. Oh, corner of the eye, not quite corner of the nose. Just about. Whoops. Sorry. Sorry, young lady. Didn't mean to squish you there. Let's see. Let's see. There to there. There. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I had the wrong tool. Let's erase that. Okay, that's where I did it wrong. I had a little bit too far to the right. Got a very cute smile, doesn't she? So there we go. Wow. Look what a difference a little tiny thing makes, huh? All right, let's try to make her upper lip the way it looks. It's got a tiny bit of this goes up. Come on. Is my pencil working? Yeah. And then it goes down. Then it goes up. And then it goes down. And it goes over. So that part's wrong right there. Okay. I don't think I have it quite right, but okay, so the middle of her eye to the corner, the middle of her eye to the corner. So let's see if we got it. Middle of her eye to the corner, middle of her eye to the corner, her nose. Okay, so this, now I feel a little bit better about the sketch itself. Maybe it's starting to look like her, I don't know. Let me erase that little smudge I made up there. Okay, now let's look at the whole picture. It's a little too far down on the page, I think, and maybe even a little too small. So let's take the whole thing, and then we'll just get rid of that color I did earlier because we're going to change it. So let's just take the whole thing and make it toward the top, and let's just make it a little bigger. Let's fill up this paper more with this girl's face. A little bit. So now it's a lot on the large side, and I guess I can change that later. But Right now I'm going to keep it the way it looks. All right, one more thing before we start with the color. I just want to make sure I get this right. And she goes down here. So from her lower lip, it's very, doesn't have a very big lower lip. A little bit of a cheek there. A little bit of a cheek. Okay. All right, now, as I mentioned before, if you were sitting across from this girl and you were trying to figure out the coloring of her complexion, you would go to your palette, you would find a color that looks close to hers, maybe a little bit more red than that. So I'm just kind of redo what I did earlier. And so we have a new layer just for the color. And I'm going to use, you know what, instead of using the dry brush, I think I'm going to use the pastel. I think the pastel is under the sketch, so let's use the soft pastel. All right, so let me show you this, because then I want to show you the trick. I'm dying to show you the trick. The trick is a good trick when you're working from a photograph. So how does that look? Does that look close to her skin tone? Right? It's not perfect. And guess what? It doesn't have to be perfect. Let me do something here. So just on her forehead alone, you know that this side is lighter. So let's open up let's enlarge the point and lower the opacity. Is what I did there. This is how you lower the opacity. This is how you change the size of the point. Okay, so let's just go ahead and scrub in some of the lighter areas here. I do want to show you the trick though. I'll do that in a second. But you know, again, if you're sketching in a theme park, or you're trying to make some money as a sketch artist in a hotel lobby or something like that, well, two things: you want to be quick, you want to be accurate, and yeah, that's two things. And you want to be quick and you want to be accurate. It's not always easy. It's not even accomplished a lot. I did it so many times. Like I said in the beginning, about 90%. I got it. 90%, not too bad, but it's not perfect because you have 10% of the people who say that doesn't look like me. That looks like my sister, or that looks like the way I looked when I was younger, or old. That looks like me when I'm older, and that happens too. You know, you just somehow sketching a person looks like their relative. It just happens that way. And let me look at this girl's body parts here. Body parts. Didn't mean the way it sounded. All right, so just to scrub in some color here, and we'll define it later, more defined later. So now that we've made it bigger, we don't see much of the shoulder anymore. Okay, so it's coming around. Now you see she's got the shadows are coming, the light's coming from that side. So I want to get a darker color here, and put some darker on this side, right there where her forehead comes in, under here, under her cheeks. It's darker. The bottom of her nose is darker, obviously. Under her lip is darker. Definitely under her chin. In fact, it's darker than that even. So let's just grab the darker. And let's go back and forth. A little more pink. Looks like she's kind of got a little bit of red in her complexion. It's Saturday morning, by the way, if you're not watching live. Not as much traffic out there on Saturday as there is on a weekday. Okay, a little bit. And then let's go find that darker again. There we are, right there in the corner of her lip. She's got some shadows here. Obviously around her eyes, always around the eyes. You don't think about it, but it's always a little bit darker around the eyes. Okay. And let's make this even darker here. Alright, her teeth are white. We're going to make them not quite white. We're going to make them almost gray. Let's enlarge that so we can see it better. And don't worry, I'm going to individualize the teeth. It's not going to be one big tooth. But I just want to sketch it in there so I get a sense of what it looks like. There we go. Pretty girl. Okay, there I went to the dark area for her hair now. I'm just going to scrub it in. That's a little bit too light. It's more dark. Okay. Over here, she's got some. Yeah, so in the beginning, when I said I was going to use dry brush, I changed my mind. I see a mistake right there. I'll fix it in a second. Okay. So let's look at that mistake. You see from there to there, that looks bigger than from there to there. So we need to have the eraser. And it's on the charcoal where the mistake is. So let's erase the charcoal part of it. It's about there to there. And it does have a squared look to it. It's not quite rounded. And because you can't really see the top of her head, it looks like there's a part like right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. Now this side of her head looks rounded. Right now it looks like she's got wet hair, doesn't it? All right, now you see the blonde hair. It's very, very light. That's one reason why I wanted to use a dark paper. But I'll get to that in a second. So let me, in fact, the hair color is not that different from her skin color, especially like right there. See that skin and that hair? It's almost the same color. So let me go to some really super light pink. I'm going to fix all the colors and try to blend it in here. Oops, I'm on the charcoal. I didn't want to be on the charcoal. It's not going to hurt anything. But it's better to do your color on a different layer. That way you can always fix everything. In real sketching, I'm guessing, because it's been a long time since I've worked in the theme parks and hotels, so I'm guessing that the modern sketch artists in the theme parks are using digital. I don't know. I haven't been to the theme park. I should ask. I should do it just for the fun of it. All right, there. Kind of making her without a top right now, just to sketch in. Got a bit of a sexy look going on there, right? Okay. Okay. This girl definitely has some dimples. That's part of her personality too. So it's part of what gives her her personality. All right, so let's look at that right there. That edge of her nose is not quite right. And in fact, the dark is not black at all. It's more like a ruddy red. And that's the part you have to change too when you're using charcoal with the intent of putting down color. I would recommend you actually don't even use black if you're going to do a sketch at a theme park. I would just start with the colors. Be quicker. But you know, for this demonstration, I wanted to show you how I would have done it back in the day. Back in the day. did it differently in the night. That's a joke. That's a joke. Did it differently in the night. I saw a little boy one time. I heard a little boy. I was sitting next to a little boy. I was in a theme park, and there was some people dressed what they call cosplay now, right? That's what they call it, cosplay. But they were dressed like, from the 1800s or whatever. And I heard, and there was a lady dressed in one of those big old dresses from the 1800s, and I heard the mother say to the little boy, "That's how they dressed back in the day." And the little boy said to his mother, "How did they dress back in the night?" Isn't that funny? Isn't that a funny thing to say? All right, so I can tell that my painting of this girl is way too orange. That picture is more red. This picture is more orange. So this is digital. This is going to be a good opportunity to show you a trick. So let's try to make that more red. We could do it two ways. We could just scrub over it with some red, like this. Just put some more red in there. Just kind of bring it out a little bit. And maybe that's the preferred way. Just do it like that. Try to remember the light's coming from that direction, so we'll get some light pink. That way we'll get some red over here. I'm still not happy with her lips yet, but I'll get there. Okay. A little bit red. But she looks like she just came out of the swimming pool. It looks like she's got wet hair. So that's one way to change the hue of it. The other way is to get the layer that's got the color, which is that layer. Go over here, and you could use the curves and go down here to where it says red. Can you see that? No, that's not showing up on the picture, is it? It's right down here at the bottom. Okay, can you see it? See how it says red? Then you push this. See how it gets redder? It got a little bit redder. Then you compare it, so slightly different. Okay, I'm going to use that. So just release it, and now it has been changed. I'm not going to do that too. Well, come on, turn it off. I'm not going to do that too much, but I just wanted you to see that. All right, let's continue with the girl. All right, now I want to go to her hair. So her hair is, it's hard to tell what color it is. You want to see how you can tell what color it is? Watch this. You hold your finger there, hover over the part that you want to know about, and lift your finger. And then look at this. Look at that. It's a very light version of orange. Okay? So let's go ahead and use that. Let's see if that works. Let's just scrub it in. Scrub it in. It goes up to about there. Comes down and streaks. Goes here. Looks like it goes. It's got lights and darks, and we'll be working on that later. But right now, looks like a little bit of this comes up here. A little bit of that going on. And then over here, she's got this really pretty highlight that comes off the side here. Got up here, got some. There we go. So we have a little bit of a resemblance of what she actually looks like. Trying to capture that likeness the whole time. That's what you want to focus on. This is one of the reasons I like doing landscapes, is because you don't gotta focus on things like that. All right, over here you got some shadow coming from the hair on the hair. Okay, and right here, see how bright that is right there? It's very bright. Go ahead and sample that and take it up here. Sample the darkness of the hair there. here. Okay, like I say, I think there's a part up here that you can't see in the picture. I'm going to assume there is. There we go. I think I made her face too wide. I think her face is too wide. It's too fat. Absolutely too fat. That's one problem. Okay. If you were doing real, it would be impossible to fix that. The only way to fix it right now digitally is to combine the color with the black charcoal. So I'm going to do that. That's a little bit risky. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the whole thing. I'm going to go to distort. That right there. Can you see in the bottom there? It says distort. Make sure you can see that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it in a little bit. Make your face a little bit skinnier. I think I made it a little bit too fat. Yeah, that looks better. See? Did that change it just a tiny bit, right? So now you can let go of that. But now you see you have this big gap right there. So what you do is you just take the whole thing. Let's move the reference photo out of the way for a second. And I'll make the whole thing a little bit bigger, I guess. Make it uniform. There you go. Little by little, I'm trying to capture her likeness. The name of the game is likeness. Try to capture the likeness. Not there yet. I do not have her likeness yet. This is always a challenge. Now, if I was just using her as a reference model to do a pretty girl, I'm getting her. But if this is Joanne or Cynthia or Sally, you want to get her to look like Sally or Cynthia or Joanne, okay? All right, now the trick I was going to tell you about, I'm going to do now. So let's open up another layer. And this is a digital tool, not a trick necessarily, but this is regarding the color, not necessarily the placement of anything. I already see some problems with her eyes. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to grab the color, which I already started to do this with the hair, and that's the color right there in that spot right there. And I'm on another layer, so I'm not going to hurt anything. But I want to put that color right there. Okay, and it goes, I'm trying to make sure I follow the contours of her face as they are. It goes up a little bit here, goes in here. And now let's get the color of her side of her forehead right there. Let's pull that around. Now let's make sure we get her eye correct, because the eyes are so important. Okay. Now she does have these cute dimples here, so let's make sure we get them in there. We get some of the hair color there, some of the lighter hair color. Okay, and that dimple right there is about that dark red ruddy color. So let's see if we can get that dimple in there. So there's her. And then goes to there. The dimple's right about there. It's a little bit too dark. Got a little hint of one over here too. A little hint. It's way too dark, but that's okay. We're going to take this and we're going to. All a dimple really is a shadow. You know, it's just a shadow, just a little place where the light is being trapped by the indentation of the skin. It's what gives her personality, though. Let's get the color underneath her chin correct. Okay, let's get the color underneath this part of her chin correct. It's very dark. Let's get the color of her forehead correct. Which you could do at a theme park if you were working. A lot of times, you know, people go to theme parks and pay a lot of money. Oh my gosh, theme parks are not cheap. And they have to wait in line for everything. Every ride is a stupid line, right? You hate those lines, right? You put up with them, but you hate them. Well, the last thing you want to do is to stand in line for an artist when you're there to ride rides. So what you are able to do with today's technology, and the artists will do this, you don't have to do anything. You just let them take a photo of you and let them work from the photo while you're away. Okay, while you're on the rides, and then you come back later and you pick up the photo. Now, I don't know if any of them use the photo and just kind of use a filter or something, but I'm guessing most of them do like I do. They actually work on it by hand, like this. I am old school in this regard, so I'm guessing that that's what they do, but I could be wrong. All right, let's get this color under her chin. I'm sorry, under her lip. Right there. Let's put it there too. And then you'll see how as I go along, how I take liberties with certain shadows and stuff. In fact, I might change her eyes a little bit. I saw a picture of another girl with light coming across her eyes. And I like the way the light came across, so I might apply that to this. But again, if you're working on likeness from a photograph, you don't want to mess with it. But I'm going to mess with this one. Kind of to show you, just to show you. Well, the other thing is, you know, there's the reflective light too. And this girl definitely has an example of that. There we go. Let's get this. Yeah, on this side of her face, even though the light's coming from that way, this side is getting some light also from somewhere, like a window or something. Let's get the color of her chest. Kind of blend it in a little bit. I might have to go back and fix that. I guess it was a good idea to use pastel. Look, it's starting to look pretty good. So, and she does have a top on, so let's put some clothing on her. We don't want her to look at her own picture later on and say, "Was I not wearing anything? Oh my gosh, I sat in front of that artist with nothing on the whole time." That's the way artists pretty much always are. There's always somebody who wants to pose nude. There's almost always somebody. I'll tell you this, make sure you have a chaperone if somebody wants to have you draw them nude. Oh my God, you don't want to set yourself up for something. Never happened to me, by the way. Just always worried about that. I did have the request, though. Yes, I'll tell you the story. I was working at a Hilton, and these two women came up and asked me if I could sketch them the way Jack sketched Rose in the movie Titanic. And I said, "You mean naked?" And they said yes. And so I called Robin on the phone. I said, "Robin, could you come down to the hotel? Because I do not want to be in this room with these ladies by myself. I don't want trouble. I don't want something to be said that didn't happen." Well, guess what happened? They didn't want me to sketch them after that, which was good for me. I was fine. I was fine. I was a much younger man then, but still, even at that point in my life, I was not needing to be doing that kind of crap. Although, I mean, if it was a real situation, you know, a hotel's different, you know, where you're sketching people. All right, and there's so many things here that I can fix. How's it looking to you? It's not quite right yet, is it? Not quite. Got a way to go. Let me see what I'm doing wrong here. I think I got her eyes wrong. Let me go to her eyes. Her eyes are not right. Okay, let's figure this out. Okay. I'm going to mix all this. So here's what I got. I'm going to take that and put the two together so that I can manipulate the photo a little bit. Because I'm pretty sure I have her eyes wrong. So let's do this. Let's take the eyebrow and the eye all the way up to the shadow. Let's move it in a little bit. Just a hair. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other eye. You know what? It also looks like it's an angle a little bit in her eye. So you see, I just tilted it a little bit. Okay. When you do that, you see these big gaps? Look at that. Well, you don't want that, obviously. So the way to fix that is you use the smudge tool. Go ahead and make sure it's the same as the one what you're drawing with, which is soft pastel. And you just kind of scrub it together. Just finish fill in those areas that you created when you moved it. And don't worry, we're going to be painting over this anyway. So, but if you can fix this while you see it, then it won't be something you forget later on. So what I did right there is I moved her eyes a little bit. I'm not even sure that I did it right. So again, it's a matter of focusing and studying and looking and seeing to make sure it is the way we want it. And the reason for using the eraser that's the same as the brush is because you can see it leaves the texture, the brush or in the pastel in this case. And so you want that texture to be consistent. Okay. I promise I'll do a landscape tomorrow, or maybe Monday. Tomorrow's Easter. So, all right, now let's look at the eyes. I still don't have the eyes. So let's work on these eyes here. Okay, I'm actually going to draw them over again. I'm going to go a separate layer. And I'm going to take the color of the eyes. And I'm going to fix that too, or change that. I might change her eyes. We have from here to here. So right here. I'm not getting much, am I? I was on the wrong tool, that's why. Okay. Okay, let's get this. From here, up here, and then down here. And the whites of her eyes are much farther over. It looks like she's looking slightly to the right. Like this here. Okay. And then this eye, let's grab that color. Maybe from here to here, from here to here, here. That's right there. Seems like that's where it starts. And again, she's looking to the right, so we have to put more of the lightness of her, the whites of her eyes right there. That's a little bit too much. Let's see if we're going to fix that. With this dark area here. A little bit darker here. Sure, eyebrows are accurate too. Girls are very particular about their eyebrows. You make a mistake with an eyebrow, they'll know it right away. An eyebrow is a work of art to a lady. All right, you know what? That's an improvement. It may not be perfect yet, but it's an improvement. So let's all right, let's go down to her mouth. Let's go to her mouth. Let's get that upper lip. Let's make that right. It's a very dark, ruddy. It's not a bright red. It's just a ruddy red. It's not a bad word, by the way, ruddy. It sounds like a bad word. It's not. All right, let's get the corners of her mouth. They're also very dark, ruddy red. Okay, it looks like it follows the bottom of her upper lip. Goes over, and then under her teeth, she's got that same ruddy color. So let's go ahead and put that in there. It's a little darker than that. Sometimes when you sample it, it doesn't quite get it right. Okay, so let's start to define her teeth. Just a little indentation to indicate where the teeth separate and the shape of them. Sometimes teeth make a person's personality. I think probably every time, but sometimes more than other times. Okay, a little bit of something there. Okay, let's get the color of her teeth now. It was a little bit bigger than I made them. I feel like a dentist right now. All right, let's take that dark color that is underneath her teeth and use it to define her teeth a little bit better. Okay, get the darkness from that area, bring it up around. A little bit of light happening here, very light pink, and that's probably her lower teeth just peeking out a little bit. Right? I'm going to kind of just sketch them in without worrying about too much definition. And then her bottom lip. Goes up like that. Okay. And then the reflection, you don't have to sample that. You could eyeball that and get it right, but either way, I'm just going to grab that color and sketch it in a little bit here. I'm going to use the smudging tool a little bit here. This color right here is lighter than the way I have it, so let's go ahead and do that. Make the brush bigger. And there's that dark area under her lip. Sort of goes over there. This pink area at the bottom of her chin. And then this area here, kind of light, kind of blends in with her lip. And the dark area here around her cheek. Okay. I still don't have her. Okay, her eye is not quite right. Let's get that reflective light here on the side of her face. This is where that other dimple shows right here. Right there with that reflective thing. Okay, I'm going to use the smudging tool a little bit. Pull some of this up. Let me mix the see how it changes. All right, let's blend those two together. Merge those two together. All right, I think what I need to do, I'll use the blending thing. Just kind of push the pixels up. That's what you do when you're working with pixels. Okay, it's not too bad. Maybe her mouth is. Let's look at her mouth. I think her mouth is not quite right. Let's do a different layer just in case I mess it up. There we go. Whoops. Let's get that pink going on here with her. Let's get this color under her nose. Maybe that's what's bothering me. I do want to try something with her eyes in a second. All right, let's look at her hair. That's a little bit exaggerated there, boy. I was not paying attention to what I was doing. All right, let's make it smaller. Let's make get some of this light color here. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to put all of it together. Just kind of hold it, blend it together, merge it together, and I want to erase all the dirty marks on the back. I'm kind of happy with her now. You know what? This one eye still needs to be a little bit bigger. This one eye. Just a tiny bit. So I'm going to grab that, distort it, make it a tiny bit bigger. And make sure we smudge out the mess. The problem I created by doing that. I didn't do much, it was just a tiny area. Smooth out her eyebrow. I just realized it's not quite so sharp at the peak there. All right, now her eyes. I think I want to define her eyes more, but I'm going to, first I'm going to do something else. I'm going to turn off the reference photo. I'm going to go big here, and I'm going to erase all these areas around here that are left remnants from the beginning sketches that I don't like, because they're muddying up the picture. Again, this is a luxury, if you will, that you don't have with real charcoal. You really can't clean it up. You have to be careful not to get your hand into the charcoal, but you can do it with this. Okay. Well, I don't know that I got her likeness perfectly, but it is what it is, baby. And you know, again, if you're working in a theme park and you've got a time, you've got to be done in 15 minutes or whatever. I think her shoulders should be a little lighter, don't you? Shouldn't they be lighter? Shouldn't there be light coming off of here? I'm going to show you a couple tricks, by the way, that we can do. Okay. Let me show you a couple of tricks you can do. First, I want to fix some of these things up here. Need to have some kind of smudge them up. In real pastel, I do use a smudging tool. You can buy them, but you can also use piping insulation that you get at Lowe's or something like that. All right, now I'm going to do something with her eyes, but I want to make sure I do separate layers so I don't mess them up. See how those eyes are kind of not defined at all? Let's define them. Let's define those eyes. Let's give it absolute pupil. She's got brown eyes. Let's give some definition to her eyelid. Let's give some definition to her eyelashes. Okay. Let's give some definition to the color of her eye. And it will be darker at the top where it's shaded. It'll be very dark. Okay, a little more definition maybe to her eyelid. reflection. Just a dab of white right here. Okay. Well, we'll see if we like that when we're done with it. Now let's go to the other eye. Let's give it black, more defined eyelashes. More defined pupil. Let's get some of that dark brown reflections, the highlights of her eyes, her iris, the iris of her eye. Make some dark areas. Okay, a little bit here. Let's get a little bit of light here where the light would be reflecting off the corners of her eyes a little bit, because that does happen. Now, some of this might look exaggerated. We're going to fix that too. So here we go. There's a little bit of reflection in her eyes. Nope, don't like that. Don't like that. I would put it up on this side, I think. It's not too bad. Give a little bit of definition to the light that's being reflected off her eyelid, the lower eyelid. Okay, and now let's smudge some of that. Some of that is a little bit too defined, especially in comparison to the rest of the picture, which has got a kind of a soft, very softness to it, and you will get a softness with pastel, and that's what you want. You want that softness. That's why you use pastel. However, this is digital pastel, so sometimes it can behave differently than real pastel. So at this point, I just want to make sure I like the way her eyes look. Make sure they look natural. I believe, let's go back to the reference photo. I believe she has a necklace on. Yeah, she's got some kind of a necklace. I think a necklace would look nice right about now. So it's very subtle. So let's just go ahead and grab that. I have no idea what that is. It's some kind of a pendant. But let's just go ahead and put that necklace on her. Let's merge those last two layers down. Let's create a new layer for the necklace. So it's right about there. Right? So there's the necklace. It looks like that. It's got a gold-ish reflection in the middle. And it's got this bright spot right there. Make sure I get it right. Make it big. I'm going to see it better. Oh, that's not right at all. Let's just use this. I can't really tell what that is. That's okay. We just want a hint of some kind of a necklace there. I think it would look good. Gives her a little something. I don't think you can see the chain at all. A little hint of it, maybe. erase some of that part we don't want. All right, I'm going to take a crack at this, see if it works with the, just a little hint of a chain. Yeah, that's it works. You can hardly see it, but there we go. There we go, whatever that is. There it is. All right, let me close the reference photo, make it full size. Now let's look at some areas we can fix. Let me put that necklace on her. Merge the two layers down. All right, a little bit more. Just a little bit more to define her. I like the way her hair is looking. Make sure we give it a little bit more of a look of hair. By the way, there is a tool, a brush, that is for hair. I don't use it. I have used it, and I do like it, so it's not like I don't like it. But you know, I'm kind of old-fashioned, and I kind of like to do things without using the tools. I mean, I will use the tools. Obviously, I've used them in this. All right, so I'm adding some colors now to her hair that didn't appear in the original photo, just because. Let's make sure her hair comes down. Her hair is pretty, and I want to make sure we keep it pretty. Okay, so you have now seen, if you've watched the whole thing, you see how I would do a pastel, digital pastel, portrait of a woman. It could be a guy, it could be an old person. This happens to be a young woman. Let's just get a few more dark areas here. I do want to try a few things before we go. You know, I kind of like the look there. All right, now, I think this side needs to have a little bit more light on it. Okay. Let's put her someplace. Where do you want to put her? Before I put her anywhere, I'm going to show you a couple tricks. First, I'm going to take her, well, let's take all the pieces we just did. See the difference? Let's take those pieces and merge them together. Now let's duplicate her and see what happens. Okay, I like it duplicated. You see how it's a little bit richer? So let's do that. Let's merge those two together. Now let's duplicate her again. I'm going to show you why I'm doing it a second time. So now I'm going to turn off one of these layers so that I only see one layer. Okay? Now, on that one layer, what I want to do is put on the alpha lock so that I'm only painting on her. Now I'm going to sample the background color and watch this. I'm going to paint over the whole thing. Looks like I'm erasing everything. You'll see why I do this in a second. I'm going to show you why I do this. I'm doing this so that I can put stuff behind her. I want to put her in a place that's not defined, but I want her in a place. I don't want her just on a blue-gray background, okay? So I'm coloring in everything so you don't see anything. So it looks like the original blue-gray canvas. All right, now let's Um, let's turn off the alpha lock. Wait, what do I want to do here? Oh, let's turn off the background. Ah, look what happens. You see what happens? You can see her a little bit through there. What that is telling me is that these areas, right there and right there, all those places, there's no color at all because what's showing through is the black background. So now you turn off the alpha lock, okay? You take that same color and you color in all those black spots that are missing any pigment, any pixels at all. Because you want to color all of them in. I'm going to show you why. I'll tell you why. The reason is because if you were to create a background now and paint it behind her, whatever you painted behind her would show through on those black spots because they're not black, they're blank, they're clear, they're transparent. Okay, now all those black spots are gone. Now remember we doubled it up. So let's put that other layer back on and let's take that layer and put it on top of this layer and there she is again. Now she's got this matting behind her to protect anything I paint behind her from shining through or showing through. So let's go ahead and merge these two together. Now we're going to create another layer and we're going to put it behind her. Let's turn on that background again. And now let's put her someplace. I don't know where. Let's just try. Let's just assume she's outdoors. Okay, so we'd have a light blue sky of some sort. Okay, so let's just scribble that in. There's a little bit of a light blue sky. Maybe that's where she is. She's someplace like that. Maybe she's swimming. Maybe that's why she looks like she's got no clothes on. Maybe she's swimming. So if she's swimming, maybe there's a beach. So maybe there's an ocean behind her. We make a little bit of an ocean. Right, she's swimming. There's the ocean behind her. Give it a little bit more turquoise color. She's at a Florida beach. She's a Florida girl. She is swimming in Florida. All right, let's take that sky and make it a little bit more lighter at the bottom. Let's bring the horizon down a little bit. Or should I make it up? Let me make it up. Let me make it a little bit darker in the background. There we go. It's a little bit blurry. Kind of what you want. See, I'm going behind her face. It's not showing through because of what I did with that technique I showed you before. All right, and then let's put some little bit of ocean waves, a little bit of white caps shining through in the background. It's kind of undefined. Just a little bit of, maybe she's at the beach. We're not sure where she is. I'm assuming she's at the beach. So I like going to the beach. Nothing wrong with the beach. Come to Florida, go to the beach. All right, let's add a little bit more light to the sky. Let's make more, maybe the horizon should be more defined. Let's make it a little bit darker even. And now it looks like she's at the beach, right? Now we gotta go at the beach. So, but you could have done anything. Let's try something else. Let's put another background behind her. Let's get rid of that one. And maybe she's out and about. Maybe she's in an evening gown and you just can't see that top. So we're gonna, we don't want to paint that because that was her. We want to paint under her. See, I almost made a mistake there. Okay, so she's in a night spot. Let's put it dark. Let's see if we like this better than the beach. She's in the dark. She's in some place where there's going to be some golden light. And there's going to be some just dark light. And maybe she's in a place where there's city lights. That's what we'll do. Just create some city lights. Get some bright city lights back there. Maybe she's out on the town. Maybe. Yeah, who knows where she is. It's not exactly working out the way I was hoping, but make these bigger. Yeah, let's make some more city lights back there. These little things. Yeah, she's someplace. She's someplace at night. There's a party going on or something back there. And now, one more thing I want to show. This is more of a trick. Whether she's at the beach or in someplace. I kind of like that. What do you think? What is that? Where is she? All right, watch this. All right, now we're going to take a layer and put it over her. We're going to call it a multiply layer. There it is. See, it's got the M for multiply. And then we're going to put on the clipping mask. And we're going to take that same blue and we're going to put it over her. Ah, look what happened. Look what happened to her. She became all bluish. You see that? Can you tell? But what we're going to do, because now it looks like she fits in better with the rest of the picture. She doesn't seem so removed from the picture, right? But what we want to do, take this eraser and make sure it's on the same setting, which it's not. So we have to go there. Sketching, pastel. We're going to make it kind of large, make it very less opaque, and we're going to brighten her up on one side, the side where the light is hitting her. It's going to be brightened up by erasing the layer we just created. Okay? Let me make it even bigger than that. Because what I'm doing are very rough, kind of bring in some of her coloring out. The light's coming from this side. It's cresting over her shoulder. Some of it is on her chest here. Some of it's reflecting off the back of her hair. Okay. Her hair is blocking some of this light, so we keep it dark. We got this shoulder getting some backlight. That chin is getting some of that light. That upper lip is getting some of that light. That side of the nose. Let's see if I can show you now the difference. Yeah, that looks good. Let's make it a little bit lighter here. Some of the side lit here too. The backlighting. Let's see how much difference that makes. Okay, so we're going to turn that on and off. There, it's on. Oh, look how bright she is. Look at that. It cuts it back a lot. Do you see that? I think I like it like that. Okay, so there you go. That is a demonstration on how to do a portrait digitally using Procreate. Usually at the end of these things, I show you where you can buy the art. I'm not going to do that with this one because I don't think you know this lady, so you probably don't want the picture of her. However, if you wouldn't mind indulging me and allowing me to show you what my website is, so you can look at my other art and perhaps encourage yourself or somebody else to buy some. So let's just go ahead and put my art website on here. I'm going to put my add text and make that white so you can see it. And here we go, kids. Okay. Whoops. What is that? All right. Let's show you my website is. Don't laugh at me because I don't even know that I'm doing this right. HTTPS : whoops, that's a semicolon, / and then my name, LARRY, and then hyphen. Where's the hyphen? Wait, is that a hyphen? Where's the hyphen? Hyphen. And then WHITLER dot pixels, PIXELS.com. And I guess I have to make it smaller because it's too big. How do I do that? Oh, I guess I just drag it, right? Like everything else. All right, so there's that. There we go. There's my website. All right, so yeah, if you could go to my website, spread the word about my website. Look at the art. I have a lot of art on there, a lot of landscapes, etc. So, all right, well, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed watching the demonstration. If this was a portrait of this girl, I wonder if she'd be happy with it. Well, you know, like when you're doing sketches at a theme park, you usually don't do color. You just do the black on white or black on gray. Sometimes you use black and white on gray. Maybe I'll show you that one day. But anyway, I just thought I would show you this because you know, the digital tool is so much fun. I'm guessing most of you probably won't be working at a theme park. Most of you probably just want to do this for fun, you know, paint a picture of your wife or your husband or your child or people you know. Just keep in mind that when you do a portrait, draw, paint, slash, whatever, draw or paint what you see, not what you know. For example, you know this girl has 2 nostrils, but you really don't see them. So don't be drawing dots to make nostrils. Just kind of draw the way they look. Now, in this particular case, we knew that she didn't have a sparkle in her eye in those photographs, but I just thought I'd add it to it. See? She's got that nice sparkle in her eye. and I love the way the texture looks from the pastel. It's got that look of real pastel. So, all right, kids. Thank you for watching. And hey, if you leave me a note after you watch the recorded version and ask a question or whatever, I will respond to it. Now I gotta turn this off, figure out how to do this. Oh my gosh. There she is. There's the work for today. All right, see you later.